Welcome to Talk Cosmos, the show where Sue Rose Minahan and her guests bring you insightful conversations to awaken heart and soul consciousness. Come journey with us exploring the meaningfulness of astrology's energetic cycles and get ready to understand your path in the cosmic roots of the stars.
I'm Sue Minahan. This is Talk Cosmos, and today is August 2nd. It's a couple of weeks. Well, we're in the eclipse season. It's a period of time. The vibrations are happening, and we'll just get right to it.
Talk Cosmos explores the journey from the dark new moon to the full moon's blossomed brilliance. In this second week of the month, we look at the moon, our emotional anchor, as this personal planet weaves the past into the present through our memories, feelings, and habits. To decode this month's lunar beats shaping our world, let's meet the astrologers who will connect the moon's emotional story to our lives here on Earth.
I'm Sue Rose Minahan, founder of Talk Cosmos since 2018. I'm an evolutionary astrologer, consultant, speaker, writer, vibrational astrology student, Dwarf Planet University graduate, Kepler Astrology Toastmasters Club charter member. I have a fine arts music degree plus a certificate in jazz. I'm an artist, musician, and certified color energy life coach. Especially, I love mythology and esoteric philosophies.
I'm Amanda Pierce. I'm a soul-centered astrologer, blending intuition into my practice. I believe the universe is always working for our highest good and seek to empower my clients in our readings. I teach a 4-week series of empowerment-based meditation classes that connect you deeper into your own intuition and innate power. I work in communications with a passion for employee experience. I also have a BA in psychology. I'm passionate about healing and enjoy helping others create new realities and shift old paradigms.
And like the Sufi poet Rumi says, you are the entire ocean in a drop. Hi, Amanda. It's good to have you back again.
Yes, it's good to be back. I can't believe this summer is just flying by.
Yeah, I hear this again and again, and it surely is. It's in the middle. Well, it's the middle of summer, really, in some ways.
Yeah.
August.
Yeah.
And isn't this amazing? We have these. Well, the solar eclipses is happening in a few weeks.
Yes, we're all ready to our second set of eclipses for the year.
Yep, it sure is. I think if we could get the slides up for a moment. Thank you. Okay. You know, the nodes just entered, and because the sun they need to be within 18.5 degrees to be an eclipse. But this one is less than 10, and therefore it's a total eclipse. If it's between 10 and 12, it's a total eclipse. And,
I was going to say it's the first with in this new Leo Aquarius eclipse sequence. And there will be 9 eclipses with the nodes in Leo Aquarius. Over the next 18 months, 2 this year, 5 in 2027, and then 2 more in 2028. Yeah, we have a set of 2 eclipses, and then a set of 3 eclipses next summer.
Isn't that something that can happen? But it really is remarkable that.
But that's down the road. We've got just 2 eclipses.
That's true.
Right
now. Sometimes I think that pause is exactly like an eclipse. It just stops. The light stops. One of the big ideas is that 8 years ago to remember things, and that'll come up on another slide. But you and I shared the eclipse in 2017 when, it was in Leo. And that was a total eclipse. They call it the Great American Eclipse across the country. And it is really true to reflect not just on the Venus cycle, but the eclipse cycle that are both, in this case, 8 years.
Yeah.
And the significance. And there's so many other factors such as UAC, the United Astrology Conference was 8 years ago. which is a long time for a UAC.
Right.
I know within its entire history, it's likely been that, but in recent times, it's been a long stretch. A good stretch. It's not any negative. It's just it's ready.
Yeah.
Well, the nodes themselves are going to stay right at that degree for 2.5 months at 29 degrees. They always do whenever there's an eclipse, because as the nodes, is the nodes, folks, are a point, and it's between the moon's orbit connecting with the sun's orbital path. They don't actually connect, but the paths. And as it's ascending is the north node, and descending would be the south node. So in this case, of course, Aquarius is the north node. And in evolutionary astrology, it's our collective path, the destiny, where we're integrating the strengths to counterbalance or to mitigate or to strengthen shadows or areas of Leo. And there aren't too many. Well, that could be where we think our stuff doesn't stink.
That can be a shadow of Leo for sure.
And it's hard to see the reality. You work so hard to become something, and then you need that feedback, and the feedback is like, oh, really? But we'll talk more about that. And there has been, last week, Marie O'Neill and I talked at length about the nodes, so people can check that one too.
Well,
go ahead.
Well, maybe we could talk a little bit about what eclipses are and what they signify for us. So a solar eclipse, it happens at a new moon, and it's when the moon passes in front of the sun. And in general, solar eclipses are not times to manifest. They're times to pay attention and listen, because it's a new moon. It's a receding period. And it can mark karmic turning points for us. And if we have been on track with where our destiny is headed, then it can amplify things or accelerate continuing on that track. And if we're not on track, then it can be a course correction, and that can sometimes look a little more dramatic, but it's really to our benefits to just get us back on track and get us headed the right way that we need to be going.
Yes, it is true. And we get ideas about it ahead of time. Like, this is the 2nd. It'll occur on the 12th. So that's 10 days away. And often we think 2 weeks ahead, 2 weeks afterwards, after the lunar. And of course, the lunar will be in 2 weeks following, which you and I will be talking about again on the 23rd, which I'm very grateful for, looking forward to. And this one is a total eclipse. It'll be 2 hours and 18 minutes. And it reaches the more of the northern stratospheres of the globe. And off Iceland, it'll be the longest at 2 hours and 18 minutes. Whereas, well, this is true too. If eclipses exactly change the attitude of what we're looking at, because they stop and pause. But let's go back and see, now that we've had our little eclipse. So off Greenland and Iceland, even into northern Spain, part of Portugal, northern Russia, across the oceans on the north, it will be total. And the sun will be very low. It's 29 degrees, but it'll be very low along the horizon. And this is an amazing photogenic opportunity, as one keeps reading about it, because in many other areas of Europe and even North Africa, it will look like a crescent hanging just on as long as you can see the western horizon, it'll be hanging right there. I wish I could. I have a great view of the western, not the eastern horizon here, but it will be incredible. And in the United States, it's still a partial, even down to New York or that area, but up in Alaska, it'll be about 38%, down in New York, about 10%. Canada, largely, well, across Canada, it'll be pretty strong, about 53 to 61%. We want to get really details, but Calgary, which is down south, really, in on Ontario, I believe, is only 3%. So it looks like a tea bag maybe going across. I don't know. But it's still effective no matter where it is. Because here in Hawaii, one can't see it. But it will be effective because vibrations and energies, it's not see to believe, although that does help. It's energy. It's energy that transmutes. It's always shifting. So there will be this partial or full eclipse sunset in those cases where it's a partial. And then you will see Venus, which I think is significant. We've both decided and realized this is also an 8-year memory from last year, which last time, 8-year phase as Venus connects with the sun every.
And Venus plays a big part in this solar eclipse as well. So it's something for us to pay attention to as we're going through this, talking about this eclipse today.
And following that will be the meteor shower. Oh, and there was a link there if you wanted to know exactly more in your locations. We are in this process again, where the fixed signs, if you have anything near 20 degrees, but that could be a large orb if it's conjunct. It doesn't need to be 20 degrees. It could easily be most of it, I would guess, at least 5 degrees, if not even, I would say even 10, wouldn't you, perhaps?
Yeah, and as we go through this chart, as long as people are on video, you'll be able to see the degrees of all the different planets that are getting really lit up with this energy and really charged. And so anyone that has a personal planet around those degrees is going to feel it. There's going to be an impact.
I think it's very intriguing to think back 8 years. I started Talk Cosmos in 2018. It was really significant a time after that eclipse in 2017 in the summer, late summer in August. You and I drove over and back with another friend, John, who used to be with us. And then throughout that year, decided around the beginning of the year to have this program. And it started in April. And so when I ask how much have I evolved, it's been amazing. It was a podcast to begin. Then it's now visual. It's also a podcast. But just the panels and the people, it started off archetypally, which is still, I think, very fundamental. But I think it's on a personal level, too, how much we've evolved, just the life, how it's changed. It's a good reflection to really think about that portal and what's being reawakened. I know I'm looking forward to UAC again, where I meet new people and can begin ideas about what to launch ahead. Any ideas that cross your mind?
Oh man, well, this solar eclipse is right on my Saturn. So I'm feeling like it's going to be touching into my career because Saturn rules my midheaven. So we'll see. We'll see what goes on.
And I will divulge it's on my Pluto in the 11th house. So it's how do I work with community, at large, and what's the philosophy? And it's exciting to consider.
Yeah, and it's exciting to think of it in terms of, well, what is the next evolutionary chapter that we're going to be initiating forward here? And, are we on the right track, or do we need to make some slight changes here and there? And they're all going to be for our benefit, even if if it gets a little rocky in the meantime. Yes.
Change does you're learning something. Exactly. Like I have ideas like having little groups or et cetera, et cetera. Well, we'll find out as that goes along. Leo archetype, because it's a Leo solar eclipse, it's leadership. A lot of ways in however we demonstrate that. And it's that courage, but it's because it is a south node, is our own personal experience and manifestation of this, that we need to return to that joyful idea, whatever it is, without just the duty of the obligation and all the other things that as an adult can easily intertwine as we're reaching our goals. But realize that it's that fun, that experience of life, the very generous energy that Leo gives. But also, how does that relate with the broader audience? Who is your audience and how are they receiving it?
It's a new creative manifesting cycle for us with this eclipse in that Leo energy. And, it's about being heart-centered. It's about finding those things that light you up and operating from that place, making that your center so that that Leo energy is just shining through you and shining out of you and touching into everybody else and having that impact. That's the beauty of Leo.
It is. And all of that can resonate, feeling the joy as long as one realizes a few little guardrails. That is there somewhere within where you're seeking validation to the point that you need that external confidence? I mean, we all need that to a certain extent. We all look at our ratings or whatever, if you're on a show or etc. But yet there's still an idea that one forges on because it's within, like the artist that just keeps painting, Picasso or whatever as an extreme example. But that guardrail where it's not self, it's all about self.
And this is the great beauty of that. This is we're on that nodal axis. So we've got the Leo South node and the Aquarius North node in that Aquarius, like pulling yourself back and getting a little objective and saying, well, I'm just one part of the whole and I'm here to shine my light, among everybody.
Because new communities and that going into that 11th, well, not necessarily 11th house, but the Aquarian node offers another opportunity, I will continue to say, to experience a different role. How do you assemble a new role? And that can be quite exciting. It's an integral part of the whole, but you're still exhibiting your leadership and helping move things forward. And risk. There is risk involved with Leo. Be willing to have that confidence to take the gamble when it's, when I use the word gamble, I'm not thinking of money. Thank you.
Well, it's risk. Risk can be scary, but if you come at it from a place of play, which is very Leo, and you're just playing with things, then it feels a little easier. It's like this is life,
like hide and seek, like little kids. Oh, now I find something. Yay.
Yeah.
Very true. And it's all about kids too. A lot of kids or creative projects. Two planets in particular are out of bounds, Mars and Pluto. They really get your attention when you realize that. And out of bounds is when archetypally they're independent. They're going outside the path of the sun. They don't need to answer to the sun. That's the traditional idea. And I interrupted myself there, folks. I realized that. I have Pluto out of bounds. I have Uranus and Venus. Yeah, out of bounds. They're at the midheaven, those two. And then Pluto. So I'm in that generation. It's a 10-year generation. And it is now a 10-year generation. It'll be 2025 to 2035. And it's not consistent. It kind of bumps in and bumps out. And it's not much that bumps out, but it's still out. If it's out, it's there. And what does that mean? It means maybe you're more impassioned about what you're doing. Like I have a lot of air in my chart, but I do get obsessive about what I'm interested in. Astrology happens to be it now. It was music. I want to go back to my music. I'm thinking, I've got it out to practice, but There's and digging down into like, why does something happen? It's just been always one of my words since I was a little kid, asking mom why. Those are Pluto ideas. So that gives you an idea. But Mars too, we're driven to get to the next step, I think, in this eclipse.
Well, and Pluto is the soul's evolution. Mars is the conscious driver of the soul's evolution. So they're both about of evolution and our process. And so the fact that they're both out of bounds during this eclipse is quite potent. There's potential for us to take leaps that maybe weren't available to us when these planets were in bounds, because when something's in bounds, it's got boundaries to it, and and the universe is
the consequence, the options, not just consequence, but
and the universe is playing fast and loose right now a little bit with who knows what the potential is going to be.
Yeah. This was an interesting article, and I just couldn't help but add this. It's by Roseanne Finn. It's her conclusion statement, which I interrupted in with the dots here. But it is really intriguing, and people might want to find that, what happens when it's Pluto Unleashed, what happens when it is out of bounds, by Roseanne Finn. And it's in astro.com, so it's right there for everybody to find. And it talks about the declination, because going out of bounds and coming in bounds, declination, latitude. And it's a paradigm shift. But this idea, just to leave us with, is visionaries about tyrants with power, but reclaiming power, crisis point, justice, and redemption. So we're in this reformation period. And that's, I think, inspiring to consider of that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. There are shadow paths, just to add to the whole story we have, and we'll get to the charts, but this is a little bit of the whole mix, because we're walking in a very, Uranus is the moment right now. And so what's happening right now, we're going to have a chance to reclaim, Uranus is basically in shadow, post, early, retrograde, or post the entire year. So we're in the pre-shadow period. And that's up until early September. And Pluto is retrograde. So we're really retracing our steps since May, if that makes a difference so it's all through the summer, and then October it's going to go forward. So we have a good time to digest things. And Mercury, we're also reforming and thinking that period of time. And you wanted to talk about the Lion's Gate, which is always on August 8th. It harks back to when Sirius rose and the Egyptians could tell that the Nile would flood, which is abundance.
Yes, the Lion's Gate portal. It's like you said, it peaks on August 8th, but the portal itself is between the periods of July 28th and August 13th. So this eclipse is on the 12th, so it falls within this portal period. And the Lion's Gate portal is when the fixed star Sirius, Earth, and the Orion constellation are all aligned within the sky. And Sirius is it's a fixed star, and it's associated in astrology. It's associated with brilliance, with visibility, with honor, leadership, and using one's gifts in an ethical way, responsibly. So it's like it has a lot of very positive connotations to it. And in other esoteric traditions, it's considered the spiritual son of our sun. So, Alice Bailey, who was a theosophist, among other things, she said that the ordinary sun nourishes our personality, while Sirius nourishes the soul. So Sirius is closer to Earth right now. So it's more potent. And that's part of this, what this Lionsgate portal is. And as it being the spiritual sun, there's a lot of potential for us to tune into this energy of what is going to nourish our soul.
Yes. I like this.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful setting to place this experience on, to realize that is also an energetic.
Yeah. Yeah. There's just a lot of layers going on right now where you can see that this eclipse is going to be pretty potent for all of us.
We will come back and look at the charts and tie many things together. This is about the eclipse, Talk Cosmos, the solar eclipse with Amanda Pierce and Sue Minahan. We'll be right back. Thanks.
While we take a break from this week's edition of Talk Cosmos, let's take a look at this cycle's archetype. We are currently in the Yang period of Leo, ruled by the solar sun. Having departed from a cycle based on the internal process of emotional attachments requiring security and safety, the energy of Leo externally manifests our legacy through children and artistic creations. As a fixed Yang fire sign that desires to ignite actualization, Leo the lion takes the risk to generously exhibit love and welcome all to share their stage with joyous pleasure for living life.
Talk Cosmos ignites insightful conversations to awaken heart and soul consciousness with hour-long programs every Sunday at 1 p.m. Pacific on KKNW. Also available to watch live on the Talk Cosmos YouTube channel and Facebook page. While you're there, make sure you click their like and subscribe buttons so you get the full Talk Cosmos experience. You can listen to earlier podcasts since 2018, either on most podcast carriers or under the video tab on Talk Cosmos YouTube. To join our expedition and find out about upcoming programs, sign up for the newsletter at talkcosmos.com and launch your week into the cosmic wonder.
This is Martha Norwalk. Every Sunday morning, beginning at 9 a.m., thanks in part to the Ananda Institute of Living Yoga, we cover the world of animals. This week, August 9th, it's our energy balancing show. That means Best and Energy Codes practitioner Linda Rasmussen will be here. She'll take your phone calls and help you and your animal friends through you with emotional, behavioral, or physical issues. I hope you can join us and plan to call in for your free remote treatments. Martha Norwalk's Animal World, Sunday morning, 9 a.m. to noon. Right here on Alternative Talk, AM 1150.
Alternative Talk 1150. It's good for what ails you. This statement has not been evaluated by the FDA.
Hi, Amanda. Here we are. Amanda Pierce can be reached at amandamoonastrology@gmail.com. We're both consultants. And if you have questions and want to find out, I know that she would be glad to work with you. And I'm Sue Minahan, and you can reach me at info@TalkCosmos. And of course, I have my YouTube channel. And these are some of the programs that we've had throughout the summer. Astro Jam will be back again on the 16th about the eclipses. That'll be exciting. And then I had Rick Levine on earlier. It wasn't last week. I should have put Marie up there. Darn it. I meant to do that. I had Marie O'Neill talking about the nodes. And then going forward next week, I have decided what I am talking about, and I'll show it at the end. It's going to be about between the two eclipses, some energies that are pretty dynamic. And then Astro Jam. And then the lunar eclipse with Amanda again. At the end of the month, Tara All will be here to talk about Mars squares Saturn. So dynamics are continuing to happen. And Laura Tad has her moon journal. You can find that at Mythic Sky. That's a great aid to help you really discover your path in the process of all the 8. If you choose 8 or 4 or 2, however you want to use it, you can use it however. She has it nicely laid out with many prompts and assistance to build on that. Getting back to ours, this is the 20th Leo. Oh boy, Sue. Any rate, the Sabian for this is always rounded up. And those are these mystical imageries that I keep repeating it so often. It's like an old recipe, but it is Elsie Wheeler with Mark Edmund Jones back in 1925, but many astrologers have taken them on, and they are spiritually significant. And this is a strange one. Intoxicated chickens trying to flap their wings to fly. And the way we could think about this is that one's unprepared. One's discovered something new. And that's so tremendously appropriate to this particular eclipse. We're talking, first of all, of Sirius being involved. And as you can see with charts, there is this urge for us to reach into the unknown, into what we could learn. But it takes time. It's not always going to be understood at the experience that we have at that moment. It takes time as we take that risk and are playful, to understand.
Yeah, and intoxication is falls under the realm of Neptune. So it's this energy where you're altered. You may have diminished capacities. You may not be thinking clearly. And when you think about chickens, they are, yes, they're birds, but they are not birds that are known to be great flyers. They can fly a little bit, but flying is not their natural state. And so when I look at the Sabian symbol, it to me, it looks like the chickens are trying to fly in a way that is not their natural tendency. And maybe there's a different way that they can fly. Maybe they can fly internally as opposed to trying to do it on the outside and find that way to soar within. I think that's what I'll say.
It is a well-defined, just finding focus here, getting past those external encounters to really find the inner groundedness of it. In a sense, the transformation is we may still look the same, but we have evolved into a new archetype or a new avatar, you could call, internally. There is this constant.
Well, and just this, when we're thinking about this for the eclipse, this is the eclipse degree. It's good to keep in mind, like, what are some areas where we are pushing ourselves or swimming upstream in a way that is not to our benefit and not within our natural capacity. And so when we think about the eclipses and their tendency or ability to correct our trajectory, like, just be aware of where maybe you are, you're pushing yourself in a way that isn't quite correct, or look for it if things start to get rocky. Like, is this actually something that may be helpful in the long run?
There is always another way, too, of looking at all of these that add another dimension. The Chandra, which is by John Sandberg, he has a black pearl hidden in an oyster. Now, he doesn't round it off. So this would be the Leo 20, the actual degree. We had to search this and discover it because I'm so used to the Sabians that are commonly used by Linda Hill and Jung. I mean, many, many people. And Burgess, John Burgess, that a lot of people use too. But here, this Chandra symbol is at the 20th, and it's a pursuit of really, the pearls is that little grit that was in the pearl, and over time and time and time, we've tumbled into this beautiful, lustrous, many layers of shining pearl. And the black pearl is more unusual. They have pearls of all colors when you go look at pearls wherever they're sold, or beaches that are well known for it. And so it's really letting go of what's superficial. It's an internal. It is internal. It's really echoing, in a sense, that process. I think, like the antidote, exactly what you were saying, is going within to find that discovery process of the core truth of the soul.
Yeah, exactly. And, we're talking about this being hidden in an oyster. And so what hidden capacities or hidden wisdom, pearls are often associated with wisdom, is within us, that is ready to come forward.
I love that.
I love the symbolism of it being black. There are a couple things that makes me think of, black is often considered, you think of like the black sheep. So it's not following the same path as everybody else. It's its own unique, wonderful.
And it's like the eclipse. The sun is black.
Yes. Yeah,
it's just being held there. And really power. A lot of times people wear black or have black cars or that because it's power. They feel like it's power. And in some ways it's because it is contained. It's within. You're not necessarily, it's okay to exhibit everything. I do share a great deal. But yet we have,
there's always parts of us that are just within us and that nobody else sees. And that's true of everybody, right? Black is also associated with yin. So it's the energy within that is truly ours, and that where everything that is in the outer world is created from. So it's inner energy.
It is. It contains all. Yes, it does. That's right. Looking at these charts, what can we understand? One is just very basically, if you look at the natural chart, the 0 degrees Aries chart, where 0 degrees at the beginning and it just follows signs. There's a predominant, and the North Node would be in the 4th quadrant because it's Aquarius, and the South would be in the 2nd quadrant of the zodiac, of the horoscope rather. And above the horizon is objective, and that exactly as you were indicating earlier. So we're very subjective when it comes to the Leo. It is us. It's our highest manifestation. And in Aquarius, it's the whole, the consciousness, the collective consciousness that is being elevated and is objective. More, how do we fit into it? So that has somewhat of a significance, I think. Any thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and so the sun and the moon are in Leo. And so it is primarily Leo energy that we're dealing with here. And we want to have that authentic self-expression and tune to that creative life force of Leo, but it's also connected to the South Node of Leo. Mm. So in the long run, there are pieces here that we're letting go of the Leo that aren't serving us. And so there may be some shadow aspects of the Leo where we are being like overly self-identified and not taking into consideration that Aquarius energy and the greater humanity. So this is the sun and the moon are in a balsamic relationship to the lunar node, which has that symbolism of closure and culmination and release. And also it's really a seeding time for a new cycle for us. Yeah. So we're letting go of some stuff.
It's interesting because the nodes are coming towards them, but still it's prior to it. Well, looking again at another angle, you had mentioned about yin, but these signs are yang. I mean, both Leo and Aquarius are yang because it alternates from yang to yin. And what is that? That's assertive for yang and receptive for yin. There's always that dynamics because if you're going to give something, somebody receives it. If you receive, and then it energizes and gives to somebody else. whether it's Kabbalah, whether it's however it is. And energy with the world is this constant dynamics of give, and take. Here we have so much Aries and so much Leo. So that's Mars and, looking at the ruler, Mars and the sun. But for dispositors, that is, and two of these planets in this chart are in their own signs. Venus, which we were bringing up, which has some emphasis, but it has rules two signs, but she's in one of her own, Libra. Very happy there.
Yeah, and fire is, it's fiery. So there can be just a lot of either just a lot of passion, a lot of like wanting to move and grow, and it can be a little bit explosive. Mars also ruling all of that Aries energy, like we mentioned before, is out of bounds.
Yeah.
And so this is like, it's pretty potent. All of it's pretty potent energy and quite, it can bring a little bit of drama, hopefully good drama, but and hopefully like fun drama. Not all drama has to be bad.
Not at all. And in fact, remembering that love is the final antidote, the final dissolver, because true love, if you truly love something else, it takes time, but you begin to resolve some of your shadows that are worried about yourself. And it's this merge, as long as both people our relationships are still sticking to their values. Of course, then we talk about Venus. So let's look at this chart. Here we have this first chart, even with all of its flowing. Some people say start off with the hard stuff first, which hard would be action-oriented, because in my world, if you have a square, it means action. Here we have trines, and the reason I brought it up was because it involves the sun and the moon. And we're talking about the sun and the moon. So let's look at it. Right now, it's trine. It's in this flow with Saturn. And Saturn is also attached to a heap, two asteroids and a dwarf planet. Eris is now a dwarf planet. But Pallas Athena is strategy. She is a sister of Mars, but she's a strategist. She's the one in if you're going to look at the Odyssey that helped Odysseus, with all his strategy and befriended him. She wasn't helping there. And that's part of any combat or conquest or any initiative going forward. We don't have to look at it in violent terms, but when you're going forward, you strategize. So she's involved with that deep thinking, clarity that Saturn wants to get down, because it's in action. It's in Mars, Aries. I mean, it's not Mars, but Mars is ruling it.
Well, yeah. And Saturn is the only planet that is touching into the sun and moon here. And so there's a really nice grounding capacity, even though we've got a lot of fire going on, a lot of potential movement. This is a nice sign that we're really going to be stabilized a bit more with it.
It definitely is. In the meantime, there's these big, complex patterns that are flowing around. And it's hard, that's really the experience, I think, that we're discovering. And so in some ways, it's better to talk about what we're trying to achieve through all of it, rather than through inside of it, because we have Jupiter that's the head of one and Neptune at the other. When you put those together, they're both, Jupiter is looking to the adventure ahead, to the visions, what's beyond. And Neptune doesn't have any boundaries. It's imagination and huge, and it can't escape, but it can also be imagination besides illusion. There's this, but together we're really, like you say, it's this playful field, ideally, of considering our relationships, the values, because Venus is involved with this, and purposeful work, and they're changing, allowing that to change. I think that is part of what helps the playfulness.
Yeah. I think when looking at all of these configurations here, or many of them, the central feature that I see is that grand trine. Like, this is like, it's connecting all of it. And so we've got a grand trine in air elements. So it's Pluto in Aquarius, Uranus in Gemini, and Venus in Libra, all in the air signs. And that Uranus and Pluto, there's such a tremendous capacity for genius energy to come in through us, for brilliant insights and for eureka moments here. And then connecting it with Venus, this we may have some big insights into our relationships. And I like the Libra aspect for bringing harmony and bringing balance into this, so that we can really have that have those eureka moments. But yeah, go ahead.
Well, what I love centering on Venus in Libra is equality. Libra, remembering about, because I'm studying vibrational astrology in some sense with Linda Berry, and David Cochran looked at all the signs in his evaluation with many and charts. And for Libra, it's friendship, which I have a Libra moon, a lot of Libra, and I understand that. And I hadn't realized it quite in that context. But Libra wants, we look at it, we've talked about it, extremes. That's one way evolutionary looks at it, is that it is extremes. It's trying to find out a little, because it's the other, what the dimensions of it. But regardless of it, it's not hierarchy. It's opposite of the Capricorn. It's at the horizon on the natural chart. So it's friendship. It's how can these, in a sense, that's one idea. And the other is equality, so that you're equal to me, I'm equal to you, as far as just the give and the take. Granted, each person might have their experiences and education and expertise in things, but how you share the time together is a give and take. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's beautiful. I love that. Now, with a grand trine, you think, a trine is a beautiful flowing energy, so a grand trine must be more of that. Well, yes, but also no, because a grand trine is a closed circuit. It's free flowing through all 3 points, but it needs something else to kind of help manifest the insights or the knowledge or the wisdom into the reality. And that's where those kites come in.
Yeah, so we will be really leaping out of our realm of possibility. When you have Neptune or Jupiter makes everything big. And Neptune is that imagination, which really goes along, I think, with the Leo. But to remember, it's because, there's the old thing outside the box. Like, maybe there's options and possibilities in the playfulness where, some circumstance brings it along that becomes inviting. The other thing is a grand trine, again with evolutionary, one wants to continue that flow and will do anything to keep that flow going. So from that standpoint, those kites are very helpful. Well, let's see what else is going along here. Our great Mars and Pluto out of bounds are really significant here in the action orientation of, like you were suggesting, how are we going to really map these out? Yaws are adjustments, as is well put, or irritations, of which that always bothers me. I think the word irritation bothers me anyway. But it's adjustments. And it is an adjustment with how are we going to really reform our relationships, our contracts at Juno. with Pluto
Mm.
and within the context of the community, or finding a new community, or however it is, because we're part of communities we didn't necessarily assign to, and then we have ones to discover.
Yeah. Well, I actually really like the word irritation here, and here's why. Because
Oh, the pearl, but go
the
ahead.
pearl, that
Thank
is
you.
how the grain of sand
I like it.
is irritating that oyster, and that is how the pearl grows, right? And so there is wisdom to be gained here, or whatever hidden capacities we have that may be seated at this moment at the solar
Yes.
eclipse. So it could be really uncomfortable, but it may lead to something really great down the road.
You have totally redefined my entire consideration of a yod or a quincunx, which means 150 degrees, and they don't quite match, because I have a very strong one in my chart, and it
and it's different
helps.
when it's in your natal chart. You're always living with it 24/7. When it's in something like an eclipse chart, an event chart, it's a one-time thing that we're accessing that may hit something in us differently than we've ever seen it before.
Although it's a period of time, folks, like, yes, it is a one-time, but within eclipse, that energy we're feeling now is accentuating, and then we're going to go right into, it's going to blend into the lunar one. So yes, but so you're right, though, it really is an irritation, because on the other hand, there's these T-squares, which is where one planet is activating an opposition, and it's really a lot of action. And this is very healing. Chiron, that just entered for its 8-year span in Taurus, of our resources, of our sensory, of our material, of our body, of Earth's body. People are redefining, refocusing that perspective. I was just reading other, it's not just us, but there's, yes.
Yeah. It's, a T-square, there's a lot of tension there. But it is so action oriented, because you can't stay in that tension. It's too uncomfortable. So it's going to force you to move and make action. And there is a lot of, like you said, a lot of healing potential here. It's important to realize also that to find like some balance to help with this, can look on the opposite side of that apex planet. So instead of 0 Taurus, look at the other side, and we'd be looking at 0 Scorpio, and that helps bring in a little bit of balance, a little bit of
Maya's there, and that's rebirth. So we're in this big kettle. But I think remembering heart, I was just looking at my notes that I wrote in my newsletter and stuff, and to go back, because we're kind of getting close to the end here, but the heart is still the central part of Leo. And with all of it, it generously wants to give something, because we are looking at our values, and we're looking to get beyond what maybe has been even the negative talk to ourselves, to realize to be loving to ourselves.
Well, and Scorpio is about emotional intimacy. And so speaking from your heart to the people that you love, like, because this ties in Mercury as well in this T-square. So there may be some words, and those words can be healing, or they could be harsh. But if you're speaking from that place of power within yourself and bringing in that heart aspect, that can help a lot.
And also Mars here is also one of the activators. Both of these are like, they're in a attention orientation, and with Venus, which is our values and of our desires. Like, what is it? Because whatever we feel, and in Cancer, Mars is feeling a lot. It's a little bit cautious, but it is emotional, and is looking, and is looked to the past, but is looking how to create something beautiful with our relationships, and looking at what is being a give and a take of fairness, of not just fairness, but fairness is in inequality, and and expansion.
And how do I assert myself, but do it in a gentle way?
Yeah,
Do it in that yin
exactly.
way.
It is true. These patterns are working. This is what I'm going to be talking about next time. I know we're closing out. We have about a minute left, and we'll look at that more then. So I think, Amanda, we are going to be checking in again with the lunar eclipse. It'll be in Pisces. It's right at that cusp because it'll be the North Node. Anyway, it's in Pisces. We'll talk about that then.
Yes, I will see you then, and we'll see how our eclipse season is going.
Yeah, and I hope the music is better on everybody's end than it is on mine. It sounds horrible. So we'll say goodbye. Blessings. Get through all of this. Have patience. Have love. We'll see you again.
Take care.
Thank you for joining this vibrant and insightful conversation on Talk Cosmos, the show where Sue Rose Minahan and her guests awaken consciousness by connecting heart and soul consciousness patterns with astrology's energetic cycles. Be sure to tune in next week, same time, same place, to continue your journey through the roots of the cosmic pathway.